All right. So this was from, I think, Fear and Pod. qtcinderella, Mike, Hassan, and Wilnef talk about deepfake scandal. Hassan claims to be working with AOC to ban deepfake porn through legislation.
As we know, fake nudes of myself were leaked everywhere this past week.
Oh my God. I wasn't going to touch this with a 10-foot
I am a woman, a part of it. I'm more than happy to talk about it. It sucks because, you know, I feel like there's like levels of kind of how much you get hit by it. And like Maya and Pokimane were like the number one, like they got hit the most. Sure. But the issue was,
I mean, it's totally related to like your size. So yeah.
The Atrioc was a best friend of ours. And so I've been...
Now, you put that in the past tense.
Yeah, I did. Because the damage is just irreparable. Like, I'm not kidding. It's so irreparable.
I saw this, obviously.
Yeah.
I still am
Oh,
trying
so did
to...
everyone. So did my Mormon family.
No, sorry. I didn't see
by the way.
that.
No. No, I'm saying, like, that's how bad this was, is it wasn't a controlled thing.
That's not what I meant. I saw the fallout from it.
Yeah.
I'm going to share a few things.
I'm sorry that happened to you, by the way.
When I was at BuzzFeed, people made a lot of deepfake porn of me. And I might sound old, but I just didn't get it.
Okay.
Like me photoshopped onto some rip gay porn star's body. I was like, who gets off to this? And I've never understood deepfake. Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't do
I think the concept is just weird. Do you know that there's free porn on the internet? You don't have to pay for a deepfake. There's lots of very good porn on the internet. You could just watch that stuff. I just don't get it.
And beyond that, he's fucked a lot of porn stars. But once I met these women, I couldn't jerk off to them anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Like, they existed as real people. And then once I saw them getting, like, face fucked, I was like, God, I really enjoyed talking to her about, souffle.
Okay, I'm going to come to you guys with a confession, okay? If you guys judge me, I'm going to be so mad and I'm never going to have story time on stream anymore, okay? I was like 12, okay? And I had like a crush and I jerked off to my crush. I literally regretted it so bad because I couldn't look at them normally anymore. And since that moment, I've never done it again. I can't. I can't do it to like a person I know. I can't look at that person anymore. It's only hentai for me now.
Yeah.
The Playboy Mansion.
How do you look at people that you had sex with? It's different because like they were there, so I don't feel like I'm hiding something from them. But I feel weird like knowing that I did something and then I've been hiding it from them. Like the guilt like eats at me. I don't know how else to explain it.
You hung out with every adult star and they're all friends of mine. From Emily to Riley to obviously dated Lana for a long time.
Yep.
And by way of them being in my content, I've been on the receiving end of this like strange PTA mom-esque ridicule that has started to exist on the internet where when you hang out with girls that do this type of stuff, it's haram, it's you're a terrible like this is all very new. I grew up on Howard Stern, I grew up on Hugh Hefner, I grew up on
anti-sex work sentiment has always existed. It's just you're humanizing adult workers, and that's why you're also bad.
I mean, like, literally all of the women who are getting banned from schools or banned from their job as a paramedic or whatever because they make an OnlyFans because it's literally too expensive to live, that is literally only happening for one reason. People like to shame sex workers. That's it. I don't understand why you would ban someone from like a school or ban someone from like whatever because they're choosing to do things in their private life with other consenting adults. It's insane to me. It's literally just like swerfism, I guess. Dude, the fact that Twitch banned Adriana Chechik from participating in Twitch Rivals because she has adult content is disgusting. Like, how can you do... What? It's not like she gets on stream and has sex with people on stream. It's very, very sad that like sex is such a taboo topic. So much so that we teach abstinence only. Even though we know that teaching kids about consent and teaching kids about basic sexual education lowers teen pregnancy and it increases the rate at which children and kids speak out about sexual abuse. It's literally a net good to society to educate more people about sex. But people don't like it because sex is icky. And we can't tell kids about sex. Ew. If we teach them about sex, then they're going to know about sex. It's like, dog, they already know about sex. We're just educating them about safe sex. They know. I knew about sex when I was a kid. I didn't need someone to tell me that it existed. Also, it literally reduces sexual assault. Yeah, I mean, if your understanding of consent is I can say no at any time that I want, the hope is that some of those people won't go along with everything and that they will be able to speak up and advocate for themselves and be like, actually, I know I said I was interested. I changed my mind. I'm not. I want to leave. I'm going to order an Uber or whatever. Like, that just gives you that opportunity. You know what I mean?
Especially by hypocritical pieces of shit who love consuming it. But
That's
now you're
the worst part
yeah.
of it.
Now that you are playing a role in humanizing sex workers, you're also
Yeah,
bad.
but Stern never. But maybe he didn't have the availability or democratized, way of getting that feedback. But Stern wasn't given that type of feedback from people. And by the way, the weirdest part of it is it's 19-year-old boys, like 19-year-old men. Like, why are you so? But to your point,
Listen, I'm a big Stern fan.
yeah.
I think part of that disconnect that you're experiencing is social media wasn't a thing. Like Clear Channel and like Moms for Against Drunk Driving or whoever hated Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Like the same Karens that are coming after you, they just didn't have a Facebook page from which to launch.
No, but
their
it was
vitriol.
moms.
Parents,
But it
yeah.
was moms. That's what I'm saying. And now there's been this weird
young
thing
kids
where the dudes, this is what happens. They literally go on Pornhub. They jerk off. And then they go to the porn star's page that they just jerked off to and leave hate comments.
It's the same thing as people who literally go to McDonald's and then they complain that McDonald's workers get paid too much. Like, you get your fucking Big Mac or whatever the fuck you want to order. And then in the same breath, you're like, can you believe these lazy motherfuckers want $20 an hour? Oh, what, to flip some patties? It's like, you literally are requiring this service. How dare you shit on these workers? And like, you literally are like requiring the service of sex workers so that you can get off. And then you're going to shit on them for providing the service you're literally using?
It is weird. It's weird. But anyways, back to your point.
I'm telling you, as a defender of sex work, they do not stop. They'll just say, like, I talked about my experiences going to a brothel in Germany.
Yeah.
I went to the brothel when I was 20.
The weirdest thing that Hassan haters do, it always amazes me that these people always bring up the brothel situation and they're always incorrect about it. They're always like, Hassan literally went to a brothel that was rated for having teenagers. And it's like, no, it wasn't. It was for tax evasion. Why are you making shit up to dislike him?
And I was talking about my experiences there to talk about like how different the systems are, right?
Were you in Hamburg?
No, it was Berlin, Artemis. Yeah, no, Artemis is a very famous one.
Yeah.
And I've routinely had sex workers on my broadcast. I've had my ex on my broadcast a lot. And when I talked about the brothel, some fucking dickhead on Twitter was like, well, that brothel was raided in 2016.
I didn't pre-watch.
Well, they claimed it was raided for sex trafficking, but it was actually raided for tax evasion. But it doesn't even matter. But because I defend sex workers, because I talk about that stuff all the time, now no matter where I go on the internet, people will constantly say, oh, well, you love sex trafficking people. You are engaging in the act of sex trafficking people.
But do you even try to there's certain things that go around. Dude, there's a community for everybody on the internet where they're.
This guy is sick. I don't know. This is Mike. I don't know who this guy is. I fucking love him.
But dude, I'm talking like
who gives a fuck?
I'm talking about like, hundreds of thousands of likes on a fucking tweet that says like, you sex traffic children. What am I?
You know what I would do? I would find out who made that video and make a video saying that they sex traffic children. Like, who gives a?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God, I love him so much. Oh my God.
You know what I would do? I would find a child and just sex traffic.
Yeah, like, dude, like, who gives a fuck what people say?
You're
People
right
just
about that.
say whatever
You're
the
right
fuck
about
they
that, but
want
I'm just
nowadays.
saying like the reason why they do it is not because you're a bad person. Is because you're humanizing sex workers and they consider that to be like really fucked up. Partially because of what Will said, where like a lot of people feel self-loathing for their actions because America is also, aside from our draconian culture and attitudes, we're very puritanical and also very patriarchal. Like women and what women can do to their bodies needs to be limited, needs to be controlled.
The fact that it's as hard as it is to get like, because I do think that something should be a little bit difficult to access only to make sure that you have enough time to think about all the things. But the fact that like women in a lot of states need to get permission from their husbands in order to get like, what is it, a hysterectomy is insane to me. That if you want to have your tubes tied, for example, you need to go get your husband's permission. What the fuck? You should have full rights to do whatever the fuck you want with your body. For people who don't know, it's a really big problem. In a lot of southern states, if you go and you're like, I don't want to have any children, or maybe I don't want to have any more children, I would like to have the procedure done to get my tubes tied so I never have to worry about getting pregnant again because I don't want to get pregnant. doctors will literally tell you, yeah, we're going to need your husband's permission. We want to make sure that he doesn't want to have any more kids first. Or like the husband stitch. It's not a myth, by the way. It's real. The husband stitch, also known as the daddy stitch, husband knot vaginal tuck, is a surgical procedure which one or more of the additional sutures than necessary are used to repair the woman's perineum after it has been torn or cut during childbirth. The claimed purpose is to tighten the opening of the vagina and thereby enhance the pleasure of her male sex partner during penetrative intercourse. Evidence for the benefit of women is lacking, and this happens without women's permissions. Like, how is it okay that doctors can literally add more stitches than necessary because they think that your husband will like it more? It's just insane. Do the doctors ask the husband about the stitch? No, they just do them. But if the husband asks, there are lots of states and cities that are so red that they will do them if asked. The fact that like doctors don't take women's pain seriously and they don't take black women's pain seriously, and that we literally allow probably thousands of people to just die because we're not taking their pain seriously is insane. And it's fucking disgusting. If anyone wants like a much better story on this, Sabrina, Abelina Sabrina, friend of the channel, she literally had one of her tubes rupture and they still didn't take her pain seriously. She literally could have died. And the doctors weren't taking her pain seriously. She was like, this is not a joke. This is really painful. And they were like, oh, it's probably just a cramp. And she had to demand to be seen, demand to get scans.
What women can do with their bodies or not do with their bodies, because this is
sorry.
where we
No,
started.
you're good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's fine. I think this is a fine topic because part of what you said was actually, okay, so crazy enough, all this stuff happens and I wake up to Ludwig getting off a phone call, right? And Ludwig's like, oh, apparently H-Rock was looking at porn of Pokemon. I got to go to the gym. And I was like, what? You know, like I'm like barely awake, you know, and then I get more phone calls and I get the whole story. I get off and I'm sitting there processing it. I'm like, it's not my body. It can't the things that you're seeing where people are like, oh, it's not their body. How much do they care? And I'm like, okay. Then I had therapy actually that day. It was Mondays. I have therapy Mondays.
Good timing.
Great time.
Therapy Monday.
I go to my Twitter and I sit at my Twitter and I just had my Twitter DMs are never open. I just had my DMs open.
It was such unlucky timing. She literally opened her DMs because she needed an editor or something like that. And then she immediately closed them after that.
For my award show. And I was like, huh. And I'm just like sitting there absorbing it. And I click on my messages and it's just these videos. And as soon as you see the video, and they're so fucking real, as soon as you see them, your mind shifts. Like from saying, oh, that's not my body. Why should I care? To, did I do that? Like, am I that? Did I do that?
Did you
do people
have like a
this
werewolf moment where you're like, I lost track of time
Well,
again?
kind of like you just sit there. Well,
What happened?
every woman that has been a part of this has kind of mentioned the same feeling. Like it reminds me of like I was molested as a child, and it reminds me of that feeling. Like
the uncanny valley.
like how did this happen? Did I what? You know? And I'm like, oh. And then my therapist thing pops up, and I'm like, oh boy.
Well, because the same thing
This is
exists,
going to
right?
be a dense therapy Monday.
How long you got?
It's because there's no consent. You didn't consent.
There's
to
no
it.
consent.
It's
There's no
completely
consent.
outside of your control, and that's kind of what the problem is, right?
Yeah, he did not have a visceral reaction enough to exit out. Because usually what happens, I've had deepfake porn pop up before, and you see it and you're like, oh my God. And you exit out, and that's it. And you move on. The fact that he didn't have a visceral reaction shows that he purely saw this objectively, which is really fucking sad when you're a woman that exists in the space, knowing that he had to scroll past pictures of me to get to those pictures that and it's like, man, so I'm just an object. It's just so depressing and so sad. But then, you know, I get out of therapy and I'm like, oh, this sucks. And Ludwig's in meetings and he's taking care of all sorts of stuff. And I'm just sitting there and you know, I'm on the phone with Maya and we're just fucking trying to talk to it. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating ramen noodles. And they're spicy ramen noodles. I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is crazy. You know, she's like, I got to go process. I'm like, same. I hang up. And then I look at the DMs again and I see my body and I see the way it's supposed to look. And I'm like, my body doesn't look like that. Right? Like,
What do you mean
like,
supposed to look?
How it should look like in this sexual way, like the way this is the male gaze, right? So I'm looking at this. It looks convincingly like my body, but it also doesn't because it's fucking perfect. And I know my body's not fucking perfect.
You're perfect.
So, well, that's nice of you. But you're sitting there and you're staring at this and I'm looking at it. And for the first time in years, I went into the bathroom and I threw up my lunch.
Wow.
That's how
Wow. Holy shit.
bad it was. And I'm being like so genuine. That's how bad it was. Is I sat there and I just slowly was like,
This is literally what I meant when I said that, like, I thought that like the deepfake porn stuff was just weird, but I didn't think there was a huge problem. I tweeted about it and I streamed about it and I said I completely changed my mind. I think that there is something morally abhorrent about consuming this type of content, about consuming and creating this type of content. I think it's really, 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 like, after seeing her response on it, it's just, you don't experience emotions like that for fun, you know?
I will never have that body. I need to have that body.
So
like
it's
I
just
want
gave
that.
rush. It just
And also,
rushed
like,
you.
I think it's really easy to not compare yourself to other people on like a day to day. Like, I think you can get to the point where you aren't comparing yourself to other people, where you're like, of course they have a perfect body. They like literally do sex work and they like, you know, that's their whole job is to make sure that they look really, really great. You can say that and be like, I'm not going to compare myself to this person. But when it's literally a picture of you, but better, how the fuck are you not supposed to compare yourself? Like a photoshopped image of you in a bunch of other people's eyes as looking perfect. How are you not supposed to compare yourself?
You know, I go to therapy. We have problems. But like, it's the first time I've thrown up a mill in years. And it just set me back to like little like 20-year-old me just being like, I will never be good enough. Like, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, how? And so then people saying like, how does it affect them psychologically? I don't know why it's affecting us psychologically.
Well, it's so visceral, like of a situation to like. It's one thing for someone to say to you, "Oh, like you're fat or you're too skinny or you're too
You're
this
so
or too
used to that, yeah.
But when someone puts your face on what would be considered the optimal outcome for your body type, that's almost like this like really visceral reinforcement of what you should look like.
Yeah. Like
that, like I get that. And by the way, like I could never, I know there's been a lot of sentiment towards men who have like discussed this and I'll almost in a way like double down on that a little bit. I can't relate or understand it all here. So like, there's a lot of things in life that I just, in these type of situations, I want.
This is literally how I feel about the, for example, indigenous people saying like, please change your fucking football names. I literally don't have any skin in the game. I am going to defer to the indigenous people when they say these names are fucking offensive. Yeah, I mean, sure. That sounds pretty reasonable.
In another, you know, much lighter way, it was a big moment for hentai guys. Because
Yeah.
Are you dabbing me up, bro? What the fuck? I just dabbed him up.
You were the weirdos. Now
We
you're
were
not.
the alpha creeps.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think hentai
Ethical vegan hentai.
I think
That's
hentai
right.
may be more ethical.
The only
Wait.
problem with hentai that makes it unethical is that the manga writers and the animators or whatever, they're overworked to fuck. Workers are definitely being exploited.
Back to the serious element of it. I think beyond what it does to the individual, which is it was nice to hear directly from you because it's such a sincere problem. I think beyond that, it poses a really interesting question as to, in the future, what are people's like rights and agency over their visage, their face, their likeness, as we move deeper into AI technology, deepfake technology. Like, how much of your image do you own, right? Like, there's a lot of really interesting cases, like the Emiru case. Emiru showed up in League, right? Like, and you know, I don't know the specifics of that case, but as we move into the future, like, there are going to be a lot of these like uncanny or like likenesses used for reasons where you're like, wait a minute, did that creator have any kind of say on whether their face was used?
One thing I'll say is that like a lot of people also think that women are objects, obviously.
Wicked.
So that's like definitely part of that because they're like, you're an object of my sexual gratification. I don't think about you as a human being. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your thoughts. I'm just horny and I want to fucking do this thing, right? So that's one reason. And then it's additionally worse when you're also, you know, somewhat of an e-celeb, you know, even though we're on the lowest rung of the fucking celebrity scale. So people feel like you are supposed to just take it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't think of
What do you
as a
expect?
human.
You're part of the internet.
Yeah, they don't think of you as like a human being. They just think of you as this like random thing that, you know, you are there to consume, like not a real person. But what a lot of people don't recognize is like, the deepfake shit is very easily done to normal, you know, normies, civilian population, non-famous people all the time. As a matter of fact, there was a case that I pulled up to showcase this where there was a guy, I think he was in Long Island or Rhode Island, one of the islands. He was deepfaking girls, middle school and high school, into pornographic scenes. He went to jail. He went to jail both because this was technically considered distribution of child pornography, and he also went to jail because he was doing deepfake AI porn. So it is not legal. A lot of people don't understand that. It's already immoral. So people need to recognize that.
My 6-year-old dad, if he were to see that video, I would never be able to convince him I didn't do it.
Damn. The tech is that good. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't curious enough to look because I thought the entire thing was weird. It's crazy that like the tech is good enough that like she thinks that he would know that it's real, or he would think that it's real.
And that's how
That's
the sad thing about all of this is that like, okay, atrioc, morbid curiosity, sure, whatever. Besides like seeing women objectively, blah, blah, blah. The problem, like the biggest problem of all of this is that he platformed it. And that's what is unforgivable to me. Because now when you Google Maya Higa, who has spent 25 of her life, like years of her life for animal conservation, when you Google her, it says deepfake porn. Multiple of my family members have reached out to me for the first time since I've started this career saying they've seen this about me. And that's what they see of my career. I've worked so fucking hard and now they know me because of porn.
It becomes that misrepresentation
Porn
that,
you
I talked
didn't
about,
even
that I talked about
Porn
earlier.
I didn't even make. And it's like, dude, I love sex work. I just don't want to do it myself.
Yeah, that's fair.
And why
that's
is it
fair.
not an option
No,
for
that's
me?
very fair.
It's so sad. It's like, God, if I could make so much money, I'm sure, maybe not so much. I could make some money.
Cutie, you can make a lot
but
of
you know
money.
what I'm saying? It's just like
Can
frustrating.
I ask you, has there been any point where this made you feel more acceptable towards the idea of you doing it?
I don't know. It's sex work is just not something I've ever personally been interested in.
And by the way, that's another...
So even after seeing it, it doesn't make me feel like, no, the gateway's been open.
And
That's
you shouldn't
another-
have to explain that.
That's what
Yeah,
I was
that's like
going to say.
any
That's another
profession.
topic of discussion too. Is that like,
Why don't you want to be a mechanic?
Yeah, it's like well, all respect to mechanics. It's a wonderful way of life. I just never. I'm going to say the most controversial thing that has happened during this podcast.
What?
Yet.
Well,
That burrito was mid.
Oh, that's a good end. I don't think this clip talked about what the clip said that it was supposed to talk about. Oh, here's the clip.
the only thing that I can do is try to create legislation. So now I have to meet with my state legislator, try to get a bill passed, and all this stuff.
I'm working on that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I found my state legislator. I'm going to get a
Not
thing set
through
up.
your state legislator, but because in California, deepfake porn is already illegal.
Oh, really?
Yes, in Virginia and California, deepfake porn is already illegal. I am talking to AOC right now about it.
I could cry. That's so sick.
I think
Yeah.
the other thing.
About what federal legislation?
Yeah, like what can be done through the legislative body.
That is so fucking cool. Jesus.